All right, welcome back to BeerFormers.
Hi, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy 2025.
And happy 26th episode
Yay,
of this show.
Wow.
So we're into 2025 now. We're still going strong. We're still having fun doing this. We're still putting out videos every other week, and we're still doing the sips whenever I get new stuff. So thank you all, 262 of you now who are subscribing to us.
Sips will go on forever.
Sips will never stop, probably. That's right. But all right, so for our first episode of 2025, we're going back to our roots. We're going back to a very early on transformer, but an interesting one. And this is not Japanese. This is one that was sold in American stuff.
Okay, but, yeah.
If you recall, several episodes ago, we did Soundwave.
Yes.
And all his initial cassettes,
yes,
right?
classic.
And how I was disappointed when I first bought it that it didn't
play.
work.
Yeah,
it didn't work.
It wasn't an actual.
When Transformers first came out, I hadn't seen them yet. I just saw someone had their the catalog, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! You get the little cassettes, and you could record stuff on it and still play with them." I thought it'd be awesome, right?
Totally.
Well, today we're going to talk about a Transformer character who transforms into something that actually does work.
Whoa.
We've done their AM radios who did it too.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about Perceptor.
Oh.
Perceptor, the Autobot scientist.
Nice.
Classic character. Had lots of screen time on both the second and third seasons of the cartoon and the movie that came out in the 80s, right?
Awesome.
Perceptor as a scientist turns into, do you know?
Yes, microscope.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, so this part here looks like a big cannon on his shoulder is a working microscope. I think it only magnifies like 5 to 10 times.
I almost said a stethoscope.
Oh, no.
I'm a little tired.
Hasbro, you hear that? Like a stethoscope transformer.
Oh, that would be cool.
You know what? I bet they didn't hear that coming.
Oh.
Dad jokes are free. All right. So I always liked Perceptor, not so much because he was a working microscope. All right, because he worked okay. You could see some things there if you got the light just right.
Did you actually make slides to put?
No, I didn't do that. I wasn't that nerdy.
Okay.
But I did respect him because his function was a scientist, right?
Oh yeah.
So he was the Autobot scientist, and his characterization in the cartoon was he was kind of like the nerdy kind of knew it all, but yet he was very helpful and wanted to help out. Yeah, it wasn't so much actually, but whenever you asked him a question, he wasn't like, Perceptor, what should we do here? It wasn't like we should go forth and kill the Decepticons. It was like, well, after the initial tactical analysis and given some sort of long-winded thing, he would finally give us the answer they liked there, But as a person I've worked for science museums, was a science teacher for many years. I do respect the science and stuff. So Perceptor is a cool character. I'm gonna let Noelle get this one in her hands in a second and let her start transforming.
Oh gosh. Okay.
My Perceptor does not have he only has his one gun, but he does actually have two. He had like a missile launcher gun too.
Oh.
And you may not know this, but he had a third mode. He was actually sort of a triple changer. He had there was instructions for him to turn him into basically like a mobile like a gun emplacement thing that could travel on. So in addition to this being his shoulder cannon, it also could help him transform into a mode where this was like a
very
gun.
different than a head cannon.
Right, not head cannon this time. This is actual cannon. Okay. Although he never transformed that mode in the cartoon that I recall. His characterization in the comic books was he was a little more of a background character in the Marvel comics. In the IDW comics that came out in the mid to late 2010s and so forth.
Yeah.
He kind of got a lot of more comic time and became kind of an interesting character because he got to a point where he kind of initially started off as kind of a nerdy scientist, but my recollection of it is that he got into a couple of scrapes and kind of that shook him a little bit. So in addition to being super smart and able to do his scientist work and figure out things to the Autobots, he also was like, I need to learn how to fight and defend myself. So he kind of loaded himself up with extra weapons, and he kind of became a bad mother. Yeah. So put that
did he have the same coloring? Because this is interesting.
Same coloring,
it's a little garish for a Transformer.
Yeah, but he's in kind of your traditional Autobot colors. When you see red,
that went down
when you see reds and blues like this, that's usually one way to kind of know an Autobot. Whereas Decepticons tend to have blacks and teals
and purples.
And purples, exactly, right.
All right, I'm already messing up. Is that supposed to go up like
you got to put his head down.
Okay.
Put his head down. And that will go straight up in the air. So it'll be kind of like...
that.
Yeah, you got it, yeah.
Okay.
On his chest is both the mirror that you'd use to reflect light up into it and the stage for putting a slide on it. Yeah, so those need to both flip down. Yeah.
Like that?
Mm-hmm. And
I'm turning him into a microscope,
The chest need to flip down, too.
Okay.
The chest is what they call the stage on a microscope.
Okay.
And so then the other one is the mirror, the reflector to get light up in there. Yes, to be able to actually have light go into it. And if you turn this knob here, I don't know if this will show up in the camera now, but mine, see it? See how that goes in and out, so it focuses.
Oh wow!
So the focusing
That's
knob,
really cool.
focusing knob sort of
Right.
still works and
So
stuff
I'm
too.
gonna guess the hands need to go in.
Yeah, and those knobs on his hands,
Yeah.
they don't really function like that. But on a real microscope, they would be knobs that you have on the sides to raise and lower the stage. So those should be up in the air to kind of mimic that. So his arms go up straight up basically when you transform.
There's
him.
wheels here.
Yeah.
Why are there wheels?
Yeah. So he
Oh,
can
for
roll.
his- for his other mode?
Yeah, so he can roll a little bit as a microscope too.
Okay. Am I doing this
So
right?
imagine his legs kind of coming out and then
Yeah.
going forward. So if he's like this, see how my arms are? His legs would kind of do that.
Like he's doing the splits
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Is that right?
See how my elbows are bent, so his
Yeah.
legs need to come forward too.
Like this?
Basically, just about got it. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Don't bend it too hard. So now this one here, see the treads that are molded into it there?
Yeah.
Those need to go like that. So you
okay.
can-
Hold on.
yeah, you just about got it. And I can't remember I don't know if I've ever transformed it too often into its gun emplacement mode, but so I think I probably remember that
I
one.
think I got it.
Yeah, and these, as I said, need to come up,
Oh, okay.
straight up. And these little panels here on the shoulders flip
Yeah.
down.
Okay.
So you can collapse them in.
Oh
like that.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Now it really does look like a
Yeah.
microscope.
So let's hold it up so everybody can see. So this is microscope mode, all right? And like I said, it does sort of work. You can't, I mean, there's a way we can show this on you, but if you put something under there and you can focus it, yeah, I can see my fingerprint if you want to try it. Put your finger in there.
Well, I'll be dipped.
Put it lower like that. You can see
No,
it.
I see it just
Yeah.
fine. That's crazy.
So it actually was a working microscope, although it just didn't magnify a ton. You know, it magnified enough, but
That's neat.
now in later years they put out the evil rival to Perceptor called Magnificus
Ooh, that's a pretty awesome
because he
name.
magnifies. You know,
Oh,
and
of course.
He-
Okay.
he's basically Perceptor done in Decepticon colors, and I have that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, I have that one too. So it's like the evil. Otherwise, it's identical except for the colors in that one there. But let's see.
So he's Gen 1 though, right?
He is Generation 1,
Okay.
correct? Yeah. So for this mode here, I think this goes like this, like that. This probably goes back like that. It was kind of. I remember it being not super like exciting. But these things come forward. Anybody who has this toy, who knows, I could look this up before we did the video, but that's kind of the fun is that we kind of like get in these situations like with the what's Davey and Noel gonna do this time,
You never like looking at instructions. You always like to try
Yeah.
to figure it out yourself.
I mean,
That's it.
no, it's I'm leaving out some major steps here, but something, somehow,
I was gonna say that is lame.
somehow this like shoots that way is what it's supposed to be, and maybe I'm supposed to flip these around this way like this. That's what it is.
Ah, you
Yep, I
got
think I got it.
this.
Yep. So we do this like so. Flip this around and then do this. And it was something along those lines.
I'm really impressed that they actually
So,
went to the trouble to
yeah.
make it magnify things.
Yeah.
Like make it actually
Yeah.
work. They didn't have to do that. They could have just made this a tube.
And if you think about it,
Yeah.
it's way more easier to pull something like this off than a working cassette player.
Well, that would have been weird because all the tape reels, that would have got
all
all
the machinery
tangled.
inside. Like
yeah.
This is just a couple of lenses with a little
Yeah.
gear thing that can make that thing go
Yeah.
back and forth to focus.
But
like
it's
that.
an attention to detail
Yeah.
that I find fascinating. Do you think they would still make a toy like that today?
They put out a microscope transformer for the movie.
Okay.
Okay, he happens to be on a shelf over here, just off camera. Okay?
Yeah.
But he did not work. He wasn't a working microscope. In recent years, they've redone Perceptor again in line with his characterization in the more recent comic books, where instead of a microscope, he's still got the shoulder cannon because that's like his signature look.
Yeah.
But his alt mode is more like an off-road vehicle, and he does have a few more weapons on him and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's kind of
Because he got to take care of himself.
got to take care of himself and stuff, So
Yeah.
So no, they've not done this as a microscope. Well, okay. There was a Perceptor that came out recently that I passed on for whatever reason. That one may have worked. I need to research that one to find out. If you guys know, let us know in the comments if the most recent Perceptor that came out within the last.
Why'd you pass on that one?
I think I like the one from like the IDW Comics version.
I see.
I can't remember what year that came out. I want to say it was like 2014, 15, maybe
Yeah.
16 at the latest. I just thought that one was kind of cool. We can do that toy eventually someday if we want to. But I just want to talk about this classic one. So because one of the first ones that really kind of did what it was supposed to do. And we talked about Megatron way back when. The Japanese Megatron did really shoot kind of plastic bullets.
Yeah.
But obviously in America with our
couldn't do that.
gun laws, they had to disable that thing on that one, so he couldn't really actually shoot there, you know. But yeah, so this really was kind of the first one that truly did something.
Is this one you had as a kid?
Yes.
So do you remember when you got this? Where you
I traded a friend for this one. This belonged to a friend, and I got in a trade. So
what'd you trade for?
I don't even remember now. I think I probably some G.I. Joe stuff or something at the time because I wasn't as into Transformers as I am now at that time, you know. So, yeah, or I guess I would. But
you held on to this.
I held on to it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that Perceptor, yeah. So he's kind of he's one of the few science-y type characters in there. There's Wheeljack, who's a mechanical engineer. There's Huffer, who's a construction engineer. So you know, there's some other kind of science-y types on there.
More of them would because they're robots.
Yeah, and they're advanced. You know, from an advanced civilization, it's better than ours. You know, but no, he's the only one who's straight up a scientist. They have the tech specs. Well, they have the tech specs back in the day. You know, when you bought the toy, we've mentioned those before too. I can maybe put Perceptor's tech specs up on the screen here. But his tech spec, you know, they all gave them a function. What's their basic job in the Autobot Decepticon army? And then they had like a little short, like 1 paragraph bio, told you a little bit about the character. And then they had like a readout on the side that gave like their power level. And,
did any of them have crummy jobs like, you know, bathroom cleaner?
Bathroom cleaner? No, not that I recall.
They use a bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only in the Michael Bay movie when Bumblebee relieves himself on John Turturro there, you know. But so Perceptor for 2025, awesome.
Fun.
Yeah. Microscope transformer that actually works. It was part of the commercials too, like, oh, he actually works, you know, and kids.
Yeah, that's gotta love gimmicks like that.
Yeah. So what are we gonna do to celebrate now for our first time of the year?
Well, I perceive a spirit behind me.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to go get it?
Would you like to grab it for us? All right. We're gonna celebrate. We're gonna start the year not with a beer, but with a bourbon.
Some bourbon.
So we're gonna talk a little bit. Might need your help because my tablet turned off. I need my tech.
You need your cheat sheets.
I need my IT specialist over here.
We'll see.
Helping me out. So we're gonna talk about a distillery called Old Glory Distillery. Old Glory Distillery is in Clarksville, Tennessee, and it is right off of Highway
Interstate 24.
Interstate 24.
As soon as you cross the border from Kentucky into Tennessee, if you're heading south on I-24, that's like one of the first things you could run into.
So this is one of those distilleries that we pass going back and forth, taking our oldest daughter to school and back. And so we swung by on one of our recent trips. We wanted to check it out. And it's in a big brick building that looks like an old structure, but what we learned was that it's been built from the ground up by the guy who started it. It's this dude, his name is Matthew. We're going to look at a little about Old Glory.
Boop.
Maybe not. It doesn't want to cooperate. His name is Matthew Cunningham, I believe. He's a younger guy, went to college, decided that he couldn't stay behind a desk and came back home and started his dream. Well, he worked as a firefighter first, but
there you go.
He always had this dream of starting his own distillery. So he has built Old Glory from the ground up. And they've just recently opened a restaurant in their facility. They have also just a regular bar. But we stopped by their tasting room. So they have a tasting room and a bottle room.
Apparently we're probably alcoholics. I don't know.
No,
we were like right there at 9 o'clock.
There were reasons.
It was due to circumstance. We were traveling and we were coming home from taking our daughter to school.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Anyway, so
we stopped right after that.
So they specialize in what they call small batch spirits. So they do bourbon and they do Tennessee whiskey. And the big differences between those two, besides the barrels that they're aged in and the charcoal that you use to filter that Tennessee whiskey, is they use more rye in the bourbon. Correct. And they use more wheat in the whiskey. Otherwise, the corn and malt percentages are the same in both.
And all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon.
And so everything's done right there on site. And so you can also do tours if you want. So as we were sitting there doing this tasting, you could see the room where they do where they roast and grind and mash and distill. So we didn't get to do the tour, but it looked like it'd be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And they've also branched out into gin and vodka. And the vodka is corn.
They have moonshines too.
And moonshines,
and pre-mixed cocktails.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you do, there's two, when you go to the tasting room, there are 3 different flights you can choose from, or they had some cocktails that you can choose from. And we chose to do the bourbon flight.
All whiskey flight.
Yeah. And so we did, it was a small batch of bourbon, a small batch whiskey, and a bottled and bond bourbon, a bottled and bond whiskey.
Bottled and bond has got more tighter rules about how it's made. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so then we had a single barrel of each. Mm-hmm. And then they also let us have a little taste of the vodka and gin too. And we ended up
gin was amazing.
Yeah, we ended up buying a bottle of gin because it is probably the best gin I've ever tasted. I mean, the vodka was fabulous. There's
more than just juniper. They had several other botanicals in it too, and they had an aged gin, which I actually liked a little better. Yeah, because it would have been a good gin just for the sake of drinking gin. Yeah. Whereas most people, I think you included, it only works like on one side of the screen for some dumb reason. That's why I had the mouse right there for you. But the aged gin was more of a sipper, I thought, one that you could drink by itself as opposed to just being used as a mixer, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, I thought you could also drink their regular gin. It's called pinup gin by itself too, which just shocked me because I love to drink gin and martinis, so I'm always mixing it with other things. Only thing I would mix this gin with is ice. Yeah. The botanicals were so flavorful. Just have it nice and cold.
And I had always heard, and this is the first time today when I really I think I experienced it. I always heard the best vodkas taste like nothing. And when we tasted their vodka today, it was nothing until you finally, swallowed, and then you got a little bit of the burn. Yeah. But no, it was like, I guess like fire water, quote unquote, but it was really, really, really good. So they got good products there, and the people behind the counter were really super nice. Like I said, we didn't get to try the food because we were there first thing in the morning. But they look like, I glanced at the menu, and I'll probably put an image of the menu on the screen here, but you can see the kind of stuff they got to offer. But
they also, really cool all their grain comes from local farmers, so, everything is just super fresh. But, created with pride, real craftsmanship. Everything is well aged. Let's see, they age. Their small batch is aged 2 to 4 years. Their bottled and bond is aged at least 4 years. And there's the same thing with their single barrels. So, anyway, we found it wonderful.
We've already had this one,
but now we're going to try it again. We're going to try our bottle that we brought home. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to see if you can see the color here. It's kind
of honey.
Yeah, it's definitely honey. That is a honey. And to me, it tastes, I get cherry notes. I always do with bourbon. But
yeah. She's got way better palate than I do. I'm just like, tastes like whiskey, but I know what I like when I know what I don't like. But yeah, this is pretty good stuff. Very good stuff.
Maybe a little bit of citrusy fruit.
I think there actually is a little honey in this one, too.
Yeah.
Was that
no, they're whiskey because Tennessee whiskey.
The whiskey tastes like honey.
Had a lot of honey flavor, and that comes from they use.
I'm getting a little honey in this one today.
They use maple charcoal to filter, which I thought was awesome. That would give it a nice flavor profile. So, it has a wonderful burn. You can open up with a little water if you want. Mm-hmm.
Which they gave us. A lot of places you have to kind of ask for it.
Yeah.
But that was part of the setup. They gave us like a little flight type thing, with little glasses almost like this with about this much in each one. And they put a little thing out to the side with an eyedropper in it. So you put a drop of water in each one to help open up some of the flavors. Very, very cool.
Yeah, so great experience. That is a great
So we got to
bourbon.
see,
Oh my goodness.
The science of how whiskey is made, tying back into our Autobot scientist Perceptor here.
Absolutely. And this is a great way to ring in 2025.
Yeah.
So.
And he would probably analyze this now and help tell them how this could be converted into energon.
Probably.
Because any kind of fuel on Earth could be turned into energon for the Transformers. That was a big plot point there. Perceptor also kind of got roped in as one of the smart guys on the team. He got roped into helping people with repairs, inventing new gadgets.
Who were the dumb guys? He was a smart guy.
There was Ratchet the doctor, Wheeljack the engineer, Perceptor the scientist. Those are probably the big three.
They were the smart guys.
Yeah, if they needed something cooked up or needed a fancy repair, those three guys would probably get tapped for that and stuff. So
awesome. I bet they made a great trivia team too. Probably unbeatable.
Yeah. His voice actor, who I don't know who it is, I'll put it on the screen when I find out later on. But his voice actor did it with kind of like almost like that mid-Atlantic accent that you heard a lot in the 30s and movies.
Yes, like Captain Hepburn.
Yeah, kind of like that kind of educated kind of guy. Talked a little bit fast, but not like blur fast, But he talked, like I said, he talked a mile a minute about. He basically was an info dump anytime you asked him anything, So he was kind of a cool character. Like I said, got lots of screen time in the cartoon. He was there in a lot of episodes. He even had a couple episodes where he was like the star of the episode and stuff.
Nice.
Too. Yeah. So
as scientists should be.
As scientists should be. Here's the science.
Here's the science, and here's
especially
you.
in 2025.
Yeah. And here's to all of you. We hope you stick with us and go along this journey with us in 2025. It'll be fun to see what unfolds and what toys and what beers and spirits we will have a chance to try and talk about.
Some things I've got planned, and we'll continue to do some more of the obscure ones.
You get to hear more Ronan shaking his ears.
I'll do some more of the more obscure ones maybe you don't know about, things like from other countries and stuff.
You mean like all of them?
Well,
I don't know about most of these things.
Well, but like things like maybe as Americans, I think most of our audience is probably from America.
Yeah.
Maybe haven't heard of it unless they're really into Transformers,
sure.
Right? I'm also going to break out some more of my figures that I have made myself.
I've
got some characters I've made up myself, or I've taken existing figures and doctored them slightly to make them into other figures.
Kit bashing.
Kit bashing is what they used to call it.
He's entered stuff in contests.
Yeah, and I've got a couple small recognitions for it over the year. There's people out there that are way better than me at this kind of stuff. But
still pretty fun.
And for Christmas this year, my lovely wife here, Noelle, got me a 3D printer. And I love you too. And I've already printed out a Transformer, and I'll probably show that at some point this year after I can.
It's actually really cool.
Yeah. There's lots of 3D files out there you can do where you kind of make some characters that people have designed and put the plans out there, sometimes for free, sometimes for a small charge, whatever. And so I made a Megatron figure over the holiday season here, and I'll probably bust that out at some point too. So keep sticking around. Keep telling your friends about us. If you would like to learn more about Perceptor, you can go to tfwiki.net. You can go here on YouTube. Chris McFeely's got the channel called the Basics On. There's definitely a video about Perceptor. So if you'd like to learn more about Perceptor beyond just what little bit I gave you, Chris McFeely can tell you a lot. TF Wiki, like I said, is my main source of images and information. And if you'd like to know anything about anything Transformers, that's a great place to go. If you'd like to know anything more about any other beer or spirit, please drop us a line.
Yeah.
But otherwise, as we like to say here, as we get ready to close off, please drink responsibly and play responsibly, as we did here today. Noelle, good job for not breaking this old toy.
Thank you. I'm so glad it's one of the first ones I haven't pulled a piece of it off. So.
And then these G1 ones, it's a little harder to do because I think I alluded to this at one point, but the ones from 1995 on have typically been designed with that in mind, where things can pop off and pop back on. But in the earliest days, no, sometimes you broke it, you're broken. So. Which is why sometimes if I know something's pretty fragile, I'll be like, maybe you should transform this one. So.
And I agree.
Yeah. But thanks for sticking around with us. Yeah. We're still going to try to keep up with doing every other week on these videos like this. So keep telling your friends about us, as I said, and thanks for stopping by and checking us out here on BeerFormers.
Where the beats the ride.
Cheers. Happy 2025, everyone.